How's it going, everyone? Welcome back to Boy Lie Hobby Time. This week, I'm building a wargame terrain piece, specifically for Star Wars Legion. It was inspired by this little sandbox toy that I found at the dollar store. The mesh that came with the toy was a little bit wonky, so I started by cutting that out, because I'm going to be replacing that with my own material. It's important when you are cutting out little pieces like this not to throw them away. They often will come in handy, and I'm actually going to be using all of these later in the video. The material that I chose to replace the plastic I had just cut out was this cross-stitching mesh. You can get it at fabric stores and hobby stores for dirt cheap. I initially wanted to use this round one, but after I cut it out to size and put it in place, I didn't really like the way it looked, so I decided to go with the classic pattern instead. I was going to cut out all of the pieces of mesh inside the red plastic, but decided to just create a template instead. I felt that would be a little bit more exact and a little safer. Because I cut the pieces of mesh out to the exact same size as the holes, they would just fall right through. So I cut out some pieces of styrene. I sanded down the plastic to help the glue stick a little better. I glued them to the underside to create little shelves for the mesh to rest on. After those were all in place, I used some super glue to make sure everything was nice and sturdy, and I moved on to those pieces that I did not throw away earlier. I cut out a few of the pieces of the cross pattern strategically to make some little railings. And I used a heat gun to get them soft, and I bent them by hand. Then used a pin vise to drill some holes for the posts that the rails would go into. I made sure that the bit was just a little small, so it was a nice press fit. Very snug. Really happy with how that turned out. Put 6 of those in, making sure to leave an opening on either side for the stairs. To make the stairs, I used the same plastic that I did not throw away earlier, and I cut that into a stair shape. I made 6 of those. Took a base of styrene, drilled 3 holes, just like on the other thing, and I put those in place. Then I cut out some more styrene, and I made my bleachers. Stairs. I then measured out some LED tape, and I cut that to length. Stuff is great, comes with a little controller so you can change the colors, which will come in handy later. I then used the center roll from some printer receipt paper as the base for my control panel. I cut out a little piece of styrene to be the top for the control panel, and then I used some other little bits and pieces to kit bash the rest. So the idea for this piece of terrain is that it is interactive and changes with the game. If your team occupies the control panel, you can change the color to your team's color. And then if they get it back, they can change it back to their color. Kind of similar to that game mode in Tony Hawk Pro Skater, where if you do the better trick on the thing, it changes to your color. It's just like that, but for Star Wars Legion. Once all the glue was dry, I primed it and got it ready for the finishing steps. That piece of mesh that I did not use earlier, I ended up using now because it was the perfect size. I traced out a circle on a piece of a translucent yellow folder, put that in place, and then I stuck on the lights. I then applied a quick and easy paint job with some dry brushing of metallic paints and then some washes. And once that was done, call it good. And of course, when the fighting stops, you can always use it as a dance floor. That is it for this video. Thank you all so much for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Have a great week. I'll see you next time.